Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kiana and today I have a bunch of sewing supplies here that I personally use every day and that I wanted to share with you. I've been getting some questions on like the sewing supplies I've been using, so I just wanted to let you know exactly what I'm using. Obviously there are a bunch of other things I use and other things you need to use when you're sewing, such as thread and scissors and stuff like that. But today I'm just including, I think it's 12 products. Some of them are kind of the same, so it's more like 10, 12 products that I use every day that have changed my life. Like, I'm being dramatic, but like sewing is my life, so they've changed my life. I just wanted to let you know what I've been using and what I love in case you wanted to, check out these products. Obviously, this is not a sponsored video or anything like that. I just really wanted to share the products that make my life so much easier. And also, of course, I will have links in my description to every single one of these products in case you want to check them out. So I'm gonna start with 3 things that all kind of go together, which is my cutting mat, my rotary cutter, and my pattern weights. I never cut out my fabric when using patterns with scissors. So when I create a pattern and I put that pattern on my final fashion fabric, I don't pin that pattern into my fabric and then use scissors to cut it out because I feel like it's not as precise. When you pin your patterns onto your fabric, I'm sure you have seen this, the pins kind of move the pattern paper over a little bit, and you could lose like a 1/4 inch to that pattern, which over time can add up. Like if you have many panels in a garment, a 1/4 inch on each panel could be a lot. So I never pin the pattern pieces, and I don't use scissors because scissors are hard to get into the, I'm just like flailing my scissors everywhere, let me put that down. Scissors are hard to like get into the really tight curves. So what do I actually use? First of all, instead of scissors, I use a rotary cutter. This is my rotary cutter. I love her so much. It's by Fiskars and it's like the larger size. I don't know how big this diameter is. It's like, okay, it looks like a 2 1/4 inch diameter across the blade, which is their larger size. It also comes in a smaller size, which I really want to get because a smaller size, a smaller diameter will allow you to get into those tighter curves. It'll be more precise. But I use my rotary cutter to cut out my fabric when I'm using pattern pieces. And then to keep my patterns from not moving around, I use pattern weights. A few people on TikTok have asked me, what are those yellow donuts you use on your patterns? They are pattern weights. And they are not store-bought, unfortunately. My mama made them for me for Christmas one year. They are weights literally from Home Depot, I think. So she went and got weights in 3 different sizes. I got a big, a medium, and a small, which all come in handy. Thank you, Mom. And then she found some of my scrap fabric that she stole and used it to wrap around these pattern weights, which is genius. She's so smart. But they do sell them online, so I mean, I'll link some down below, but they can be pricey, honestly. These are much more inexpensive. And then of course, if you're using a rotary cutter, you need a cutting mat. So my cutting mat is a lot more inexpensive. This is my cutting mat. It's a lot more inexpensive than the ones you see like if you're shopping at Joann's. Ones that are the same size as mine can be like $100 or more. Mine is fabulous. It's huge still. It's 24 by 36 inches and I love it. I've used it for years and it is still going strong. So that is how I cut out all my pattern pieces. Okay, next, what should I talk about? We'll talk about pins. These are my favorite pins. We had to get them for draping class at school. They are the Iris Super Fine. This is in another language, but the brand is Iris, and this probably translates to super fine. It comes in a pack of 500 pins. They're so thin and long, so when you're pinning things, it makes pinning a dream. I use these like pins with the little ball on the head. I don't know if you can see. You can see. I use these pins with the ball on the head for my YouTube videos just so you can see where I'm pinning more easily. But like other than filming, I never use those pins. I always use my Iris pins because they're thinner. And so if I'm working with something like satin that'll pull easily, I don't want to use anything thicker than these. And also since they're so long, you can put them through a lot of layers of fabric. I just love these pins. These are fabulous. Related to pins, I have my pin cushion, my wrist pin cushion, which has been getting some clout. This cutie right here. My mom also made this, as you can see. It matches, so you can't get this exact one. It's homemade with love. She used the same scrap fabric, stuffed it with some stuffing, I think, and a jam jar lid, I think, and some elastic. But I'll link other wrist pin cushions down below. I will never use a regular pin cushion ever again. Imagine you're sewing in a sewing machine you're taking out the pins and you're just quickly putting them in your wrist pin cushion, or you're draping on a dress form and your arms are up here and then you don't want to go and grab your pins from over there. And you know, it's just too much work. It's easy to just quickly go back and forth from your wrist to whatever you're pinning. It's just so much easier, so convenient. I just love this. Okay, honestly, this next one changed my life. This cutie, there she is, my retractable measuring tape. I love this. I keep saying I'm too passionate about all of these things. They're literally sewing supplies and I'm like, oh, I love these things. So this is my retractable measuring tape. It is like a fabric. Your measuring tape never gets all tied up. And also, something exciting about this, we learned this at school too. If you want to create a line like perpendicular from the floor, like pretend you're doing a seam, you're draping a seam line, and you want to get a seam line that's perpendicular to the floor, you just hold this at the top of the seam line, and then because there's a weight at the end of it, you can mark where the bottom of the seam line is, and then you create a straight line perpendicular to the floor. Wow, hack. Thank you, NC State, we love you. Ooh, related to draping also, they have dress form tape where you can tape out the style lines that you want to create and pattern on your dress form. I don't use that. We learned in school to use ribbon, like 1/4 inch ribbon, and then just pin it on the dress form. But I also don't use that. I use washi tape. I'm so technical, guys. I use washi tape. I use washi tape because washi tape is not as sticky as that dress form tape that you can buy for your dress form. And I like it not as sticky because I feel like the dress form tape kind of ruins my dress form. Like I can feel it being sticky afterwards. Oh my God, I hate the feeling of like putting a pin in through that sticky dress form tape and you can just feel like the stickiness get onto your pin. With this, it does not do that. So I love this. It doesn't leave any residue. And so this is what I use to make all the style lines on my dress form. And it's fun. They come in all different designs. So add some life to your draping process. How fun. Ooh, my rulers. I feel very passionate about my rulers. Okay, this ruler is the mama ruler. Yeah, look at this ruler. This is my Omnigrid. Is that how you say it? I don't know. Omnigrid, and it's 24 by 6 inches. 24 by 6 inches. These ones are kind of pricey. I mean, they're not super pricey, but I love these. They're for quilting, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not a quilter. But it's so easy if you need a like square line, you can line up one side and then create a straight line coming out. So like, it's easy to create perpendicular lines, I should say, and parallel lines as well. Also something I honestly just realized, I'm so dumb. They have, what is this called? Diagonal. It has diagonal lines on it too. So like they have a line that goes 45 degrees, 60 degrees, and 30 degrees. So if you want to find the bias of your fabric, so easy with this 45-degree line. I also only use see-through rulers. So we have some more see-through rulers I want to talk about. It's really easy if I'm marking like seam allowance, like to just place this on my stitch line and then create a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance next to that. Let's be real, transparent rulers are the elite. So this is my ruler that I use most often in my everyday life. When I'm doing smaller things, I reach for this one. It is 18 by 2 inches. These are cheap-o. You can get them anywhere. There's also paints on mine. This is my girl. We spend a lot of time together. Third transparent ruler set. Big hack, you need some curved rulers. Like you need a French curve or a hip curve, blah, blah, blah. You can go to Joann's, buy like a French curve for like 20 bucks. Why am I gonna spend that much money on it? No, I did actually. I bought that French curve from Joann's for 20 bucks and I also broke it a month later when I stepped on it because it's made out of like this material that can break. So I fell for that. Don't fall for that. Don't buy that one. Buy these ones. I got these off of Amazon. I bought this for like, I think it was a pack of 10 or even more, or less than the cost of one at Joann's. And it's probably because it's made of like flimsier material. But I love that, especially if you're like, I'm just like flailing everything around. I need to calm down. put it down, girl. Okay. Especially if you're like going to class or bringing your rulers anywhere, they're not gonna break, you know that. Or if you step on it, if you have a really messy workspace like me, I step on things all the time. Like these are the 3 out of the pack. The pack came with like what I said, like 10, and it came with a measuring tape too, and it came with a few good things. I use this one the most. It's like, I don't know what you call this one. What is this one called? I just call it a combination of a French curve and a hip curve. But yes, I use that one the most. And then this is the French curve that I use often. And then I also use the hip curve. So those are, again, fabulous. You guys probably think I'm so weird. I'm so excited about sewing supplies. It's just, I love to sew. I don't know if you knew, but I truly do. Okay, wait, this one is actually my favorite. Whenever I'm marking anything, I use tailor's chalk. You can buy it like singles or doubles if you want to just get it from Joann's for like $6, but this I think was $12 for a crap ton. So I bought this off Amazon because they also last a long time. And then if you want to sharpen them, I use my rulers or like a razor blade to sharpen them. Okay, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. What is this? This is a piece of wax chalk. Tailors use it, and fun fact, I used to be a tailor at Nordstrom and Lee's Tailor before. And this is what we use to like mark everything, mark the hems, mark where we're gonna cut, mark where we're gonna take things in. So I got really comfortable using this. This is my favorite type. This is my favorite type of marking tool. I don't like markers or anything because I'm always scared that they're not gonna wash out. I'm probably being irrational. And I don't like using the chalk that flakes off in your hand, just because I feel like it doesn't work on a wide variety of materials, but this literally works on like almost anything. The only downside is that you should test it first on whatever fabric you're working with, because it doesn't like come out of everything. I mean, it comes out, but it will like melt in and leave a waxy residue on some things. So you gotta be careful when you're using this, or if you use it, you gotta use it just really light. But it shows up really easily. It's easy to make a like straight line with it because it has this straight line right here. So if I'm marking something straight, it automatically makes a straight line for me. So I love her. Always use her. Oh, speaking about wax, I wax my thread when I hand sew. You should too. I used to use this. I don't love it. I never loved it. It's by Dritz. This is what I have been using lately. It is called Thread Magic. It's a little bit more pricey. I think it's only like $8 though. And you just run your thread through here and it puts this waxy substance on it. Not sure exactly what this one is. It helps the thread whenever you're hand sewing to not get tangled on itself, and it just like glides through. When you're hand sewing, the wax on it, on the thread, it just goes right through. I just like waxing my thread. Honestly, before I got this, I didn't love this one as much, so I still use it sometimes, but I used chapstick for a while. I used some old Burt's Bees chapstick, but like I was like, it's probably not good to be using chapstick on my clothing. I feel like that's not a good thing. So then I bought this, and this has kind of the same consistency as that. So I like Thread Magic. Oh, one more thing, little bonus, not really a tool for sewers. It's a razor blade. Why do you have a razor blade, Kiana? What are you doing? Because again, like I said, I used to be a tailor, and tailors seam rip things really fast, so we never use seam rippers like this, really. We use razor blades. So if you have a seam, you could just rip right down the thread and the seam will come apart. I love this because it makes seam ripping so fast and so easy. But the downside is you could rip a hole in your clothing. Like if you get the fabric just a little bit instead of the thread, oh, you're done. You're done. It's gonna make a hole in your clothing, which I have experienced before. Yeah, so that's everything I have in this video to show you. Obviously, if you're a beginner, you're gonna need more things than this, and you might not need all of these things. Like you're gonna need things like scissors and thread and I don't know what else. But these are the things that I use daily that have changed my life and have made sewing altogether go a lot faster, like in the draping process, the patterning process, the sewing construction process. My life has been a lot easier because of these select products. So I would definitely recommend giving them a go, at least just researching a little bit about them and seeing if they would work for you. So again, I'm gonna have all of these products listed down below so you can check them out. I hope you do. Let me know if you have any other questions, like what I like to use for my scissors or whatever. I mean, I'm gonna actually have my scissors linked down below too, some extra things down in the description for funsies. If you want to know what other products I use, let me know. I'll reply to your comment or I'll add it to the description. Make sure if you're not subscribed to subscribe and like this video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I love you all. I'll see you next week. Bye.